Try again.
Yeah. But you're not in until 4, so you got 3 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Well, hello. Let's see. See who's here. Hey. Hello, hello. I see Rose.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Mr. Connor.
Somebody's muted. Is it me? There we go.
They'll be starting soon.
Great.
Missy. Hi, Missy.
You're good. It's working.
You're on mute.
Am I on right now?
Yep, you're good.
Am I off mute?
You're off mute now. Hi, Missy. Missy.
Oh, do I go back to the screen?
Hi,
How are
Michelle.
you?
Great.
Go back to the screen.
Good.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, it's like my favorite part of the day, and I get to see people that I just miss. And Connor, I'm going to have you. All right, so we are live on Facebook right now, and I'm going to go ahead and let's see. So there we go. Bear with me here, and I'm going to get this party started. We've got Missy Bystrom, who I've asked to come in and just really talk to us about how we can create a healing home out of our houses and take a situation where, you know, the entire planet seems to be have sent home. Take a situation where we can not only survive, but thrive. And so, and then we also have Stephen, who's joined us as well, who's been my go-to person for everything related to what I put into my body. So as I've been dealing with stage 4 breast cancer, and I might add, I've been rocking it and feeling amazing and great. Thank you to my team of wellness providers and my team of doctors. It's been absolutely incredible. So with that, let's go ahead and start. And I want to share first, Missy. Why don't you go ahead? I know your background because we've been friends for 20 years now.
Yeah.
But I want to start out with a story about how you came over to the Pattersons' house and worked with the Pattersons to the point of organizing our entire house. And this is when we had a 5,000 square foot house, and everybody can go to different parts of the house and find reprieve. Now we have a situation where we have 1,333 square feet. And so we're doing something a little bit differently this time and creating a healing home. But go back to that time when you showed up, you had t-shirts made for us. I think I remember a couple comments coming back from my family that was not very positive to Missy. It was like, Missy, what and why are you doing this and why are you putting us through this? So if you could share with me for any of the moms and dads that are out there that want to take advantage of this downtime and do some decluttering and get organized, what does that look like?
Well, you know, it's funny that we talked about this today because ironically enough, what I spent today doing, and you know, it's like it's not something I normally do with my own house, but I thought, well, you know, we're here, we're stuck here, and let's make it fun. So my boys and my boys are old. I mean, they're like 16 and 18, but we decided to basically go through our entire house. And, you know, with a basement, we're looking at like 5,000 square feet. And we've decided to kind of make it like a family event. So we committed to 2 things. One is we're going to clean out and declutter absolutely everything. And the cool part is normally you have to force yourself to do that because like who wants to take time to do that? It's always like a big chore. But since we're all kind of like, you know, suggested to be stuck inside, what better time to do it? It's amazing bonding. Like it's amazing. It's so flippin' funny. And we crank the music and we joke around, you know, we just had a really good time. And then the second thing we did, which kind of feeds right into what you have been working on, Michelle, is we also made, because we tend to be a competitive family, we made a fitness pact. So we're kind of like, it's on the honor system, but we're all working out and we're all eating healthy. And whoever is in the best shape when we get done with this, that person gets a $50 gift card. So that was kind of like our thing. But we have to do it in the honor system because like we're all starting at different points. You know, I'm 51, and so I'm not going to be as in shape as my college athlete, if you will. But so we're just like having fun. So we're like, either we're working out, we're walking the dog as a family, or we are decluttering and organizing. And so, you know, you're going through like drawers and you're finding funny stuff. And, you know, we're just, I don't know, we're turning into a family bonding time. But at the same time, we're getting rid of the junk.
Well, and let's talk about this too, Missy, because, you know, you've heard me for 20 years now. You know, I've called you when I'm super happy. I've called you when I'm in the closet, you know, crying my eyes out, say, you know, help, you know, send help. And, you know, you have teenage boys.
Right.
So, I mean, let's share, you know, tell the moms and dads out there how old your kids are. And because, you know, I can't tell the difference of who, you know, are you talking to somebody that's, you know, a house full of adults? Are you talking to teenagers? Are you talking to, because that's impressive.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're 16 and 18, my boys. But it's kind of funny. I've been also babysitting a second grader, and he comes over once in a while because his mom has to work, you know. And he was over yesterday, and I'm like, oh, guess what we're doing, little buddy? And he just kind of jumped right in. And I guess the whole idea for parents is this, you know, it sounds so silly, but what else are we going to do? So let's make whatever we do super fun and super exciting. And, you know, Michelle, you are a masterful at this. I mean, you could make like cleaning a toilet fun, you know? I mean,
I think where I need to pay attention is sometimes, you know, we tend to make it fun for everybody else. And then when it comes to we're home and our patience is thin, and that's when, you know, and one of my kids, I only have two, so I have a hard time not pointing one of them out, but you know, keeping their privacy. But one of them said to me last night is like, Mom, you make it heavy, you know, you make it not fun. And I think that's hard to do at times.
okay. So this is the thing. I mean, in close quarters, regardless, personalities are going to come up, right? And you know, it's good that you said that, because this is the thing. I mean, well, first of all, you know, you and I are wired like you and I are wired. So, you know, our kids know that, your kids know that. And heavy, I don't know. I mean, you're dealing with heavy stuff. So, okay, fair enough. But let's see, how can I say this? I guess it's a matter of, you know, we had a heart to heart this morning too. And this is like organizing aside. And it was like, okay, I'm like, you guys, listen, this is the deal. Okay. We could be in this for months. Like we could be together for months. My college kid is home. My son is home. You know, we can't, so like, we're all kind of social. I'm like, so we've got to figure out like, okay, what's our family pact? Like, what are we going to do? And what aren't we going to do? And I said, you know, if I ask you to do something and you're bummed out and you don't want to do it, I said, okay, let's how about this then? It might not be on my timeline, but let's make a commitment by the end of the day that whatever it is gets done. Whether it's finish your laundry, pick up your bedroom, do your homework. I mean, I've got one who's doing college homework and one who's doing, you know, junior and high school homework. So, I mean, the parents that I've been talking to this week, and today even, is we all, I suggested, get a schedule, kind of keep your kids to a normal schedule and incorporate whatever they want. And if it is sitting around, if it is watching, an hour of TV, if it is, talking on the phone with friends. I mean, my husband right now is, he's in LA and he's dealing with, something, a test to determine what to do at Cedars-Sinai, categorizing people who get the virus. And what he said is the most important component that's missing right now is that social component. And so we have to keep the kids and you guys all engaged. So Michelle, kudos to you for these calls, because, it's really easy to bunker down and kind of like get a little low. And so what my boys decided to do was to tutor kids. So it's like, they're talking to younger kids, they're helping out younger kids with math and with science, because a lot of parents, like, we don't know how to do it after 5th grade math or science. And so, I'm kind of all over the map here, but I guess what I'm saying is this, like, family dynamics are going to come up in this atmosphere, and that is so unavoidable. And so moms, do not get on yourself for asking your kids to be accountable and responsible, because that's our job. If your kids don't like how you are being, yeah, maybe that might be room for another discussion, but this might be a good time too, to just all learn on acceptance of one another and celebration of one another and what we bring to the table. Because Michelle, I don't see you changing much, and I'm not going to be changing much. And anything we do, I mean, I know you know me, we do out of love. And I am certain most moms out there that are listening, and dads, everything we do is from love. It's just going to be harder. It's like when you have relatives over and they stay and you're like, I'm ready for them to go, but now they can't go. Right.
And I think you bring up such a really, really good point, Missy. I mean, I'm looking on this call and everybody that's on here is a parent, and all we want, I mean, there's nothing that we want more than to make our kids safe and to help them. And we also know that when we're of service, when we're giving back and we're doing stuff for others, that's when we're happiest as humans.
Yeah.
That's when we feel, our hearts opening up and we really feel that celebration. There's also, it is this mindset where we talked about the social disconnection and distancing, and it's yes, we're not supposed to physically be together, but I think this is an opportunity for us to create ways for us to come together even more so.
Right.
I'm having more conversation with friends of mine, around the planet than I ever have, because I am having to really curate, conversations like this. And that's why, I'm so excited about, the Real Share. It's crowdsourcing miracles. That's what we're doing. And I looked at last night, and I want to bring Laura into this conversation because of the post that she had said last night. And let me go ahead and unmute her as well. But she had a post that went out last night, and it said, and this is from Laura Vanderbrug, who I've known, we figured out yesterday, 24 years, worked with me through Robert Half Days, was my top branch manager, performer. I mean, she, like, people begged to be on this women's team. She, those people that show up where they're just like, I'm going to give it 1,000%, and, and we're going to win, and we're going to get this done. And that she's not going to ask you to do anything that she's not totally willing to do. I would work for you, Laura. That's how I knew that you were just such an impactful leader. And we worked together for many, many years. So she puts out this post last night, and she says, and it really, it just, it really, really, really got me. And I thought, I want to bring this up to the Real Share, so that we are crowdsourcing miracles. And I know, individually, we don't have all the answers, but collectively we do, in trying to figure this out, and how, as mama bears and papa bears, how we can go ahead and create create space, create safe space for our kids. But she said, Jackson is getting ready to graduate. If there's a high school senior in your life, give them a hug and pray for them.
Mm-hmm.
I get a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Hugs all day.
Is that Jackson? Tell Jackson, I want to give
Yes.
him a hug.
He's all,
Aw.
I get a hug. I'm like, I barely stop hugging you all day. Try to at least.
So listen to this, the rest of this. So that to them, the cancellation of school is not a vacation. It's wasted time they don't get to spend with their friends the last few months before they graduate. They're
Mm.
anxious, realizing they may never be able to walk the halls for the last time, do their senior walk, or attend grad night. They're sad hearing their senior prom they've been waiting all year has a chance of being canceled. They're nervous that they may not be able to walk the stage and get the diploma they had been working hard on for 12 years. Show them support and love them during these hard times. Hashtag class 2020, staying optimistic. If you are a parent of a 2020 grad, copy and post on your wall. And then she's got just some beautiful pictures, of her baby in this. And I've read that last night, Laura, and I thought, and I reached out to you and said, would you share? I want us to have an open forum on this call. I knew I had talked to Missy about the things that she's doing. My daughter had said to me, she goes, Mom, all my friends that I went to school with, they're all facing this. This is their year of graduating college. And so this is a lot to digest.
Mm.
So I wanted to open it up there and in the spirit of, when we know more, we do better is how can we again be aware, and more importantly, how can we give information back to our kids that makes sense, that creates this environment. We know we're in the situation that we're in, but I know from firsthand experience, being given a diagnosis with very grim results, I know that at that time, had I reached out and had conversations like this and created safety around me of just this familiarity and this conversation, it helped me immensely. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and open it up to conversation with the group.
This whole thing with what's going on, just has been dwindling out like little remnants here and remnants there. And even our president, wasn't totally convinced. It was very obvious in the beginning. And so just, over the weekends, every day it gets worse and worse. Like, okay, you shouldn't really go out and socialize. You shouldn't go to the stores, things like that. So it's slowly, as been happening over the weekend. And then now it's full blown lockdown. We live in Calabasas, and it's like, anything you can to just stay home. And I think that, not that we were in denial, it's almost like it's a dream kind of, it's surreal. It's like, wow, this is really happening. And, talking to some educators, sidebar, even though it's not announced and our district hasn't said anything, I've been talking to some educators, and it definitely is a huge possibility. In fact, probably will happen, that our kids will not be returning to school, and all those things that I said in my post. So it's like, I've been thinking about all these ideas, and I've been like texting a lot of these moms, and I'm thinking, this whole Reel Share live streaming that Michelle's doing for that whole week, why can't we do that for the prom?
Woo! Bingo.
That, right?
Exactly. That's, in fact, it's so awesome that you said that, because last night I was like, you know what? Even if we can't physically be together, what are some things that we can do? And, and I shared this with you, live stream, we're doing Love Fest 2020, May 2nd for my birthday. And it was out of a necessity to want to connect with people that I have relationships with all over the world, knowing that they physically couldn't be there, but they could do a dance-a-thon. They could have a dance-off. They could celebrate, and we could do that. We could absolutely do that.
Yeah, because it's in May. So the prom's in May. So by then, if we're really doing what we're all supposed to be doing, and that's really, really hunkering down, you give it a month, and I think, we're going to see some way better results. And then maybe it's okay if everything's clear that maybe kids, packs of 8 or 10, dress up for the prom and they pick a designated home and they have their dinner and they live stream. And we can do this whole thing with the whole senior class, with all the people that are going to the prom, have music, they could dance. I think it actually would be a lot of fun. And I'm even thinking that something like that could happen for graduation too. Talk to the administration, how do they feel about it? I mean, I know it's crazy, but just we've already paid for their cap and gown. Wouldn't that be fun too?
Right.
You mean that with their cap and gown or whatever, and have the administration, be live streaming, calling out everyone's names. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, trying to flip the script and make it more positive, because it is what it is. And it's like, you can be, you can hide under your blanket, or you can make it a positive experience, something that our kids will look back and go, it wasn't so bad. Man, this is going to really be huge in the future history.
Well,
They're a part
And
of
I, what I
history,
love
yeah.
about this, and Rose will go right over to you, but what I love about this is owning your wellness. It's owning your situation. It's owning your circumstance. It's deciding, again, being told I had 90 days to live. I could look at that and,
I
get
still have a
under
hard
my
time hearing
covers.
that.
I have a hard time hearing that. I know. I was like, have you not looked at me?
Michelle, every time you say it, I got cringe on the inside.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and so what if we were able to, think about the possibilities, and we were able to show up and create our own experience. And I look at my daughter and my son. Jacqueline just celebrated a birthday, and she had Eric and I and her brother at a Joe Rogan, comedy show in Los Angeles. That's what she wanted to do. We're all big Joe Rogan fans. And she also got her eyebrows done. So we had all this stuff. We ate at the restaurant that she wanted to eat, but she took the ownership on of making it ideal, making it her birthday. And what I'm saying is have these graduates, let them pick at home, let them go ahead and choreograph the experience that they want. And let's go ahead and share different ideas and be able to come together. And then I can go ahead and I can share exactly what I'm doing for the live stream and how that's set up. And let's go ahead and get something going. And it just takes one of us to say, hey, got an idea, and let's start pulling this together and crowdsourcing these miracles and creating what we want.
Right.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I when I read that last night, I just thought how just what an awesome mom you are. I've always worked with you on the business front, and I know how you are in just running a massive company and doing all the stuff that you do. But I just thought, you know what? Like that's a mom that is looking at all options and looking at what's the best for her family. So I love that. I absolutely love that. Rose, tell me what you were going to say. Oh, and Laura, do you want to say something?
No, I'm just saying that I think that this situation is going to hit every kid differently. There's those kids that I know a lot of the girls were really counting on their prom. I know moms of girls a lot more. So it really is kind of getting their gut more than the boys. Jackson was like, I didn't even know if I was going to ask a girl. I was probably going to go with my friends in a limo, So they're a little bit, some of these boys are a little bit more casual about it, even though it's like, what? I might not ever walk the campus again. What? The whole graduation things is what he's really dwelling about.
Yeah.
But if we can create this thing and I love your idea when you just give them the reins, let them create. So I just have to get some of these women that are on the whole task force for grad night, because they can't go to grad night. These women have been planning all these fun senior activities the whole year. I'm not on that. I'm not even involved with that, but to get a hold of them, I know who some of them are, and to just kind of throw this idea out, I think they might like it. I think they might run with it. Well, I hope so.
Absolutely.
My opinion is, so Laura, you do events. You're doing, you know how to do events.
Oh yeah.
So this totally should just happen and go forward, no matter what. So if they can go to graduation and they can go through it, wonderful. But why not continue doing this as even an absolute?
Right.
right? Because even
Yeah.
if even if you do go and are able to do it, this is an annex to that. That would be something that they could even capture and have forever too.
Yeah.
Something that's digitally, videotaped and all that. So I would suggest really taking the lead on this and being the leader and calling all those women and just having a Zoom meeting and talk about it and just make it happen. That way the kids have something to look forward to,
Yeah.
taking them out of
And I,
that
And
you
there
know,
is-
depression.
Yes.
and one of
I
the
love
things
that.
I always encourage individuals to do, and having had teams of 700 volunteers and doing, California Conference, North America's largest, longest running conference, is it has to really resonate with you. And in that, what is your genius? What fills you up? It could be as simple as you came up with an idea and then want to be able to pass it off on a group that's what they want to do. So I know you are all about that, Laura, and Rose, you definitely are about going after your passion
Yeah.
and following your passion. But there's so many people out there right now, and I've been getting calls and conversations that they want to help. They want to contribute, but they don't know how. And it just takes, one idea that then snowballs into,
Mhm.
how can we go ahead and create this? And I would agree with Rose, is rather than wait so that it's a last minute scramble, start putting that on now. I mean, why can't this be
Do it.
something that we do now?
Right.
No matter what, even
Right.
if they are able to walk through down on stage, still get all of the different things, the filming, get the zooming, get how that's going to work, get the little dinner parties, whatever you come up with. And you know what's going to happen for these kids is it's going to empower them to know that there's always a plan B. And they're going to
Right.
get excited and they're going to learn new tools and things about how to even do something like this. So they're making history. We are making history. This event, if this goes and happens, not only with your school in Calabasas, but I see this on all campuses. I mean, why not take this and take it to all the schools? If you could come up with a model that you
Right.
can even just pass along, a checklist type thing. Some schools may be really pro. It depends on the parents, really. It's
It
fueled by
does,
the
yeah.
parents.
Well, and what I love about this conversation, and Missy, I want to go back over to you because I know you work and volunteer every single day at the kids' school, and you're doing a ton of stuff along with helping me with my projects.
We know Michelle. We said hi to you.
It's so funny because I have to bear with that warning label. It's like if you hear me talk for more than 20 minutes, you're signed up for a committee or two.
For life.
or you're
For
on
life.
Sunday.
For life. For
Yeah,
life.
it doesn't even register, and that there's any opportunity to get away. And my friend Mary McGettigan, who you guys know, we lived next door to her for 16 years. And she had said, for Taste of Ladera, you had my husband picking up trash. She goes, I don't even understand. And I'm like, well, part of the CCNRs, when you move on the street is that you sign up for a committee and everybody starts with trash pickup. Everybody starts there. So I want to point out that we don't have to have all the answers. I think what happens is we go in with this mindset, and this is how I keep myself from getting totally stressed out. Like this beginning of the year, it was like, okay, I'm now, I'm not only having to put on these massive events, I'm having to figure out how to navigate through stage 4 breast cancer. It's like, no, and Stephen, who I'm excited to pass the mic over to, has been part of my group of doctors that have come together, and I put together 10 doctors, and their advice, which was 180-year experience specifically in cancer. But their advice is what helped me get through this and keep my attitude on track. Because when our attitude starts playing games with us and we start doubting what we're capable of, and we start internally fighting with each other, and we make that our go-to first, that's when it becomes not fun. And so I love what we're talking about here, and that is making it fun creating an experience and looking at the situation. I mean, who would have thought 20, gosh, I was saying, just last week, who would have thought last week that we would have been dealing with this? And so with that, I did want to go ahead, and I'm going to have Stephen actually join in on these calls from time to time whenever I can actually get his help, because he is busy in New York helping not only Stephen, but also his wife is also a doctor who has been helping the families. So I appreciate you coming out and just really being at the front of the line. But anything that you've heard that can help us as moms, as mama bears, as papa bears, I mean, just help with navigating through this and keeping our kids safe.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, thanks for having me on this great call. I'm a biochemist. Natalie is a board certified family practice doc. And she's got her clinic here in Olympia, Washington. And we're, like an hour south of the epicenter, which is King County in the Seattle area. So we've been in this since early January. Where the first case in the U.S. was in King County, just on the 15th of January. So we've been in this a little bit longer than most people, dealing with, what's real, what's not real. We got kids, ages 27 to 16. And, we're finally getting them all home. Ivan was at the University of Washington. Karina was at UPS, University of Puget Sound. And so, we're getting them home. Misha is coming over tonight for the family meeting, even though he and his wife live downtown. And so our goal is to, number one, make sure that everyone is not feeling anxious. Anxiety and are deleterious to an immune response. And so, me being a health educator, biochemist, I ran the nation's first federally licensed laboratory specializing in nutrition and immunology. So the kids look to me to tell them, what's real, because what they're hearing from their friends ranges everywhere from, oh, this is nothing, it's just like the flu, don't worry about it, all the way to the world is coming to an end. So what's real? So they're looking to Natalie and I to kind of help them to allay their fears and their anxieties. At the same time, what we want to do is make sure that they understand that we're all in this together. And by that, I mean, staying safe and healthy requires effort. And so what are you going to do? What's your contribution to this effort? And so, we've had an emergency prepared plan for decades, because being a doctor and a biochemist, we're wired for emergencies. That's what we respond to. And so when Natalie comes home at the end of a busy day, she goes through a decontamination, before we hug and greet each other. But she's just out there in the trenches because that's what's required. And so I want the kids to know that, there's something required of them too. And I'm not putting this on them as a burden. I'm asking for their, what do you want to do? What do you see as your best contribution? Daniel, for example, is a world-class consultant in biofarming, organic permaculture. So he comes into the kitchen with practically a bushel of edible plants that he just picked in the forest, next to our house. Mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms. Why medicinal mushrooms? Because you can make a tea. And you can teach your kids how to make the tea. And everybody can, that pot of tea, if it's got a crock pot, that crock pot of tea can sit on the kitchen, and everybody goes by a couple times a day, takes a cup, sips it, and everybody knows that is keeping the family safe and healthy. So
let's slow that because you have so much helpful information, and Stephen has been doing these types of calls with me since October, November. So imagine calls with doctors and wellness providers of all different backgrounds. Western medicine, Eastern medicine, everything from magnet therapy to, I mean, it has been the most amazing. And they all come on the call and talk about my health and talk about, and it's like, okay, guys, nobody can be sensitive. And women, we have a OBGYN, 15 years, who went into the space of cannabis. So nobody can be sensitive. They present their information, and then I'm able to go ahead and own the wellness for myself and decide what's the best protocol for myself, and then what I'm going to be bringing back to my family. And so I want to talk about this couple things that you brought up. One is you have a family meeting. So tell me about that, because we at the Pattersons, we do a family meeting. It's I can be a little heavy at times and be like, all right, everybody's going to have a family meeting. But tell me, is that something that's well received? Do people come in? And then I love the question that you ask is, what do you see as your best contribution? I love that. I love that comment.
Well, the older ones, they know what their contribution is, because that's they get it. The younger ones, it's a little bit more difficult, because this took them so much by surprise that they have a hard time even grokking that this is happening. I mean, just yesterday, I get a text, and I get a text from my 16-year-old. This is, can you swing by and pick up me and three of my friends and take us to the skate park? And I went, what about national emergency? Don't you understand? This is not happening for the foreseeable future. So at the same time, we have to be mindful that, put ourselves in their position. If I was 15, 16 years old and something like this happened, I'd be like, wait, what? So their contribution is going to take a little bit more. Karina, 21 years old, Ivan, 19 years old, Misha, 24, Daniel's 27. That group is a strong, powerful group. I mean, when Daniel can basically walk into the meeting and say, I got food covered. If the grocery store's closed tomorrow,
Does he have food? Because this is actually, we have Trina Roldan that's on the call tomorrow. She has 11 kids. One of her kids is best friends with my son. And so I called her today and said, Trina, she does it so well with 11 kids under one roof, which we actually heard in Orange County that you can't have any more than 10 in a household. And I thought, oh my gosh, 11. So we laughed about that, but we're also going to be navigating through that, especially during this next week of just really talking about that. So do they come into the discussion when you have a family meeting? Does everybody know that they're going to be presenting how they can show up and contribute?
Exactly. And that's important, because otherwise they don't feel connected. And they can feel like, they're just being punished, which is just, the wrong message. We do have to remember that with multiple exposures, I'm telling people, and I posted on my Facebook page today, you have to assume that you've been exposed and behave accordingly. And so when I'm explaining this to my young ones, I'm saying it's very likely that you've been exposed. So I'm not that worried about you, because you're young and you're healthy and you've got a doctor mom and a biochemist dad, and so you're going to be okay. But I'm worried about you infecting one of your friend's parents or grandparents if you go over to their house and you want to stay over overnight. Overnights are not happening anymore because I know the parents of my kids' friends. A lot of them are smokers, and that's the smokers are incredibly vulnerable to this virus, because their lungs are already severely compromised. So what I'm finally getting through to the young ones is that, it's not going to be you. It's going to be someone who gets it from someone who gives it to their grandmother. And they're getting that. I see them going, oh, I get it. I didn't realize that. I didn't think about that, because they only thought about, oh, well, I'm not going to get it because I'm 16 years old and I'm strong as an ox and I can eat nails and spit rust. But they have to understand the nature of the transmission of the virus, and I think that's getting what's getting through them. We have another meeting in 20 minutes. So
I would love, what do you think, Stephen? Could I just be like a fly on the wall? Just prop the computer up and be like, yeah, Miss Patterson, Auntie Shell out of California just wants to like be a fly on the wall, listen in. Because I do think that this is something, you made a comment about being connected and for them to feel like they're connected. And I want to go back to you, Missy, as well as we go into this, really giving our audience just some steps of, if you haven't had this conversation with your kids, this is the time to do it, because you want that information to come from you, versus somebody that maybe you aren't able to really understand, or it's not the most updated, reliable information.
Michelle, I'm going to have to sign off. I will see you again.
All right.
Tomorrow evening. Yes.
Tomorrow evening. We're doing this every single day. And I also want to go ahead and have you comment back on a specific topic. So I'll follow back up with you on exactly what I need.
Okay.
Thanks so
Bye,
much.
Stephen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
And we're going to be doing it too. We have Rose on the call, who's actually been meeting with companies and sitting down with companies and talking about how they can create a safe work environment for the companies. And so we'll also be talking about that. But Missy, any kind of comments, anything that's resonating with you as you heard Stephen?
Well, as I heard Stephen, that's really interesting. Because, I was at your house when you had the Patterson meeting, when you introduced me organizing the home, right? Remember that? And so, honestly, since that time, we've done family meetings too. And I think it's a really good idea. And I think, again, this is such, for me, just listening to this is such an amazing parental opportunity. And so I know as parents, we tend to feel like we have to take the brunt of this. But I think, and I want to tie it back to what you and I talked about your cancer diagnosis, okay? But you and I, it's how you view the situation at hand. And so, gosh, wouldn't it be a fun time to start teaching your 2- and 3-year-olds how to fold washcloths when you guys do laundry together, and have them be a part? And even if it's for 5 minutes, you're starting those skills at a young age. And maybe washing a bowl, or helping, clean the sink. You put it full of bubbles and they're washing it for you. I mean, any age. But it's like, as they get older and older, you can teach them different skills. We decided we were going to learn how to make pizza dough together, and tortillas, like homemade ones. And, it's like any age you can decide to have your kids. And I'm not saying work all day long. I'm not saying turn it into a huge chore. I'm not saying be compulsive like us and clean the whole basement in one day. But I'm saying, let's make this a fun time and a learning opportunity for kids. And, as parents, we don't have a lot of time sometimes. Well, now we do, So let's take advantage of that. But again, it's in the spin, it's in the delivery, but we have to feel it in our hearts. And if we're feeling, as you said, if we're feeling exhausted, if we're feeling tired, if we're feeling stressed, that's going to pour out to the kids. And so the leadership, it's got to come from the top down. Now, what this reminds me of is, okay, so this situation is hard. But it's perception, it's belief. And I'm not saying deny. I'm definitely not saying deny, but I'm saying we should always ask ourselves, and in any situation, how can I see this differently? How can I see this differently? And I don't know if you remember, but when you called me and told me about your cancer diagnosis, the first thing I said is, no, that doesn't apply to us. This isn't going to apply to us. All right, what are we going to do about this? And I'm like, I don't buy it. Like, this isn't, nope, this isn't the way we're, I
Well,
kept saying,
and I'm laughing
know?
right now because I was like, Missy, and I've since referred to it as my blessing. And I do feel, and my family and I've talked about it, and I definitely feel this way. I wouldn't trade this
Yeah.
experience that I've had for this last year. It really, as I thought about doing this and setting this up, I thought, what, the best thing that I can give my family and friends is navigating through being scared, really, really fear stricken, and having that flight and fright mentality, and just saying, you know what, no, we're not going to operate that way. I'm going to own my wellness. I'm going to create a path. I'm going to pull together these brilliant doctors, and I'm going to get the information that I need so that I do feel safe and that I can make an educated decision about what those
Right.
next steps are. And that's what this is about, is if we go back into silos, if we focus, our situation where we're thinking, okay, it's just about handling my family and I, and not communicating when we're going through some tough situations, we're doing ourselves and our family a disservice. And I think, we hear this all the time, is take the oxygen mask, put it on yourself first. And I think that what we've created collectively together, it's like creating an oxygen mask that drops down, on your entire family. And the days of having it be where you are taking care of just your family, and that's okay, and that works, are over. I mean, my family in just this year, I mean, I never thought in a million years I'd be adding a virus to the experience. I was like,
Yeah, bring it on, right?
like, what? And so just going through this, but also, and I look at this is trauma is blocked imagination. We get to choose how we want to approach it. And if I could go ahead and hear something from Laura and from Rose or from Missy, and I could say, oh my gosh, I can go ahead and do a family meeting, and not make it so heavy, and create this experience. I mean, think about how awesome that is, to be able to take that onus on as a family, and then again be able to share what we know, with each other. And that's what I think it really is all about.
And then it can trickle out to the community, we went and put notes on doorsteps for the older people and said, hey, if you guys need anything, I'd rather run to the grocery store than have my elderly neighbors run to the store, because we can still go out. There are things you can do to extend, my boys tutoring. I mean, they can do that. We're trying to stay connected to the larger whole right now, and pull together. And so, and then we the family up the street, we challenged them, to our health and fitness contest, because of course, why not bring everybody, and so
let me ask you this, because you said everybody gets $50.
Okay, yeah.
So
The
question
winner, the
is the winner. So the winner gets $50. I always like to is, what if there's multiple winners? Then does everybody get $50, or how does that work?
Well, we
My
haven't
family would
really
ask that.
decided, but what we did is, like, we thought, okay, so we have to determine like what a winner looks like, right? Because mine's going to look different than like Spencer, who's in college and he's a diver. And so we kind of decided that, okay, there would be like one winner and then maybe a runner up. And normally we do like a fun family dinner or something, but there are no restaurants open. So, we're kind of having to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But quite frankly, the $50 is exciting, but it's more of a matter of, one, individual pride, but number two, and probably even more importantly, it's like something we're kind of doing and we're like having fun together. I had a friend call me up today and he's like, oh, are you dealing with this whole thing? Yeah, it's just horrible, la la. And I'm like, heck no, we're having a blast. Like, this is great. Like, how I'm like in my house with my kids, we're walking the dog. It's not snowing out. We've got like free time to do whatever we want. I mean, everyone always complains because they're so busy. I mean, like it's like mandated free time for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
And we're also trying not to spend like as much like we're not shopping, we're not doing anything like that. So it's like, we're just, I'm like, we're camping, right?
Well, and I'd love to, so I think all those points are awesome. And one of the things that we're going to be doing with the Real Share is capturing this content and then being able to share it back out on the posts. And so
Sure.
people can have just some actionable, just some actionable steps of things that they can do. But I'm excited because we have Rose that's going to be joining us in the next few days, and we'll have guest speakers from around the planet that are be coming in. And these are real people dealing with real situations, with real solutions. And so, Rose, I wanted to ask you to share what you're going to be talking about with the group, and if there's anything that you want to add to this conversation. Oh, let me unmute you.
There you are.
Okay, thank you, Missy, for sharing. I really love listening to you. I really miss you and your
I miss
energy.
you.
So where I'm coming from, everybody here on this group, is that, as entrepreneurs, we're all finding solutions for ourselves and our families. And that carries on to helping others, like Laura with the idea of making something different for the college students. And Missy coming up with games and fun activities for the home to keep that situation happy and go lucky and free, and having team meetings. All those are just amazing. It's amazing time. So for me, my daughter's not around. It's just me. I live alone. I'm solo. I don't have the husband. It's just me. So I get to have all this time to create and, really capturing what can I do to be a solution to this? What can I contribute to this world right now? And what's my genius that I can do? And so I was an employer. I had at one point over 100 employees. I ran a company, and I know how important it is to keep the safety of your employees and the morale up high to keep production up. So getting that fear of the virus out of the workplace, keeping it safe in a safe environment is like, this is where I want to go. I want to go into companies and help the employers talk with their staff about how important it is to work together to keep a safe environment. So that's what I'm doing. I already have a lot of people on the books, quite frankly. And now what I'm doing as an option is that I'm also doing this training on Zoom. So for those that don't necessarily want me to come into their companies, I can do the training on Zoom, which thank God we have Zoom, right? And so there's always options and solutions to all of these problems. And here's another one. I'm always looking for solutions for everything. Here's a friend of mine that has a restaurant, and she is just saying, oh my gosh, Rose, I don't know what I'm going to do. I had to let employees go. My restaurant's closed. Yes, we have takeout. Well, she had a sign made up to put outside of her restaurant with all her numbers, go to. I'm like, that's brilliant. And she's already getting takeout. I said, okay, you are the leader in your community. Go and get every restaurant to make one of those signs. Have this company who made yours make signs for everybody in the community and rally together and make it like this is what you're going to do now as a community. And you have all your little signs outside your stores. So I'm always looking for new ways of looking at a situation and making it a positive out of it in the times that we're in. So that's what I'll be doing, and that's what I'm doing. And some of the things that I'm talking about, I'll just give you some of my key points of the things that I'm training is basically taking the myths and the facts of the virus. What is it and what it isn't? And taking that fear out, because I think knowledge is it's so powerful. The more we know, the more we can really concentrate on what's going to be effective, right? So there's that, there's the awareness, how to actually, the physical things that you can do in the workplace as far as cleaning, which is pretty basic, but sometimes people, if everyone's on the same page, then no employee is not going to not do it, because now they've all been trained on what's done in their workspace and within their whole work environment. So those are a couple things. I'm also going to be helping the employers themselves come up with task force and methods of how to keep their teams together so everyone contributes and has a method or is signed up for that week to do a certain type of cleanliness within, like even if it's wiping down all the doorknobs or something like that. So there's different things that everyone can get involved with, like the contribution, like the family meeting, everyone needs to contribute. So it's going to empower the employees, and it's going to empower the employer himself or herself, because they're really taking a pro on everything on this and taking the fear out. So yeah, I'm excited. I've been calling employers now for the last couple of weeks, and yesterday for some reason was kind of a deflated day. I was thinking, no one's going to want me to come in, but luckily today people are like, no, we still really want you to come in. We really need this more than ever. So I was afraid, oh, they don't want me to come in their doors anymore. And of course we will be very cautious in how we do that. But with our government and saying that we can't get together, this training, and even here in our Sacramento counties, they are allowing things, manufacturing and companies, to stay full on, because we need products, and the trainings to keep that staff and those employers there healthy is real important. So I kind of have found a little area where I can be helpful, and I know how to do this. So yeah, I'm excited to be helpful.
Well, anybody that can have 18,000 people sign up to be a speaker at an event, and you're director of programming, Missy's laughing because she had another role dealing with the California Women's Conference, but Rose Tafoya we had 18,000 people sign up, not to attend, but they wanted to be a speaker. They had something to share. And that's what this is about, is really being able to go ahead and share what we know, share what's possible, be able to come together. I love this because I love the role as Chief Experience Officer, and being able just to go ahead and through collaboration is create these like over the top amazing experiences, so much so that, this last year has been my best year. And my thought was, all right, I am not gonna like pull back on that comment and say it's not my best year, when I'm like, okay, a virus. All right, we got this. We got this. We got this. So this is about how we can come together, support one another, share what we know. I think your point, Rose, about knowledge. I mean, knowledge, what it does is we're going through a time where loneliness and despair are at an all-time high. We've never seen this. So much so, they named an ambassador out of London for loneliness. And so my feeling is, I would like to be the ambassador for the experience. And I also know that just because you have a good experience and I'm not having a good experience doesn't mean that we can't get on the same page and have a great experience together by comparing what we know. And the days of feeling embarrassed or ashamed or feeling judged, that's over. I mean, we don't have time for that in our space. I mean, this is the time for us as families, really to come together and show up for each other. So we're going to be doing this call every single day. Join me on it. I am looking for shares, as I go through and look at the post and people that are tagging me to it, the real shares, because I want to talk to the individuals that are thinking outside the box. And we're going through times that we've never faced before. So let's bring to the table, and I refer to the table as the kitchen table, the heart of the home. Let's bring that to the kitchen table, and let's talk, and let's co-create something that is above and beyond our wildest imagination. So, and make it where, again, trauma is simply blocked imagination. It's how we choose and how we show up. So we are right up on just a few minutes before the end of the hour. And what I'd like to do is just say one word that you've gotten from this call that's really resonated with you, because that's what we'll go ahead and we'll share out for people that want to commit to spending an hour with us. So one word.
One word,
You put us on the
solutions,
spot, huh?
solutions.
Solutions.
Solutions. I like that. I like that. Gosh, I mean, there's more than one word. Contribution.
Yep.
Are you there?
Yes,
Love
Yeah.
contribution.
yes.
Contribution. Yeah.
Very good. And Missy,
You know, and I like collaboration.
Yes.
Yeah,
contribution, collaboration,
solutions.
solutions,
There you go.
and all around co-creation is just, you know, I'm excited to go on this journey with you guys and see what we create together. And I feel extremely connected to you. I can't physically be with you right now,
Oh, it's upside
but
down.
it's awesome to just be able to share this experience with all of you and to show up. So my word is love. We show up in love every time. It really dissipates any kind of despair and fear and loneliness. And we come together. So with that, everyone have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.
You
I
too.
look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 4 p.m. We're going to have Trina Roldan on the call, and she's going to be talking about more of how to create just an amazing experience with your family, all under one roof. And also talk about too is when you need to take a break, you know, and recognizing that and being okay to tap out, you know, on occasion and to go to your safe spot where you can rejuvenate.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful night.
You too. Bye,
Okay.
Love
everyone.
you.
Love you.
Good
Talk
night,
to you all
everyone.
soon.
Mwah.
Bye,
Talk to you
everybody.
tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Love you.
Love you.
Night.